From the heart of Montana, this is Big Sky, Small World, Carroll College's student podcast.
Big sky, small world, Rocky Mountain High, Montana. Took to the big sky.
All aboard, choo choo. Today we got quite a story to tell you all listeners of Big Sky, Small World. This is the train station workshop, where as a newly hired conductor, I will be guiding a non-stop run through the numerous topics my mind seems to think is so important to fixate on. Can you hear the music? Alejandro Enguidanos.
Hello. I'm so ready.
So for your second convention, and this was, would you say this was your junior year of college? Yeah, he gave me a verbal nod there, folks, in case you were not aware. I'm not talking to myself.
Because I'm eating trail mix.
He's eating trail mix. We were professional with our first interview with Henry Tan. Shout out Henry Tan. Just so the listeners at home know, and for Henry Tan, if he ever listens to this, he can call me when he hears this great news. I already got offers from 7 different people to purchase his book. And if he doesn't respond to me, and let's say 1:45 on February 21st, then I get all sales of that profit. Yeah. This episode won't air until very much later, so
that's the way the law works, baby.
We are a family here.
We got a family. I'm gonna make him a deal he can't refuse.
All right, AJ. So you went to Boston your junior year. You were at a convention. Yeah. What was your experience in this new city? I mean, this was the East Coast. No longer you're all about West Coast love. No longer you're all about that good kush and that surfing those great waves all around the coast. No, you're on East Coast territory now. You're in the home of the Boston Celtics, the home of the Irish.
It was amazing. Right when I touched down in Boston, I could feel the East Coast spirit filling my veins, filling my very chops. But it was real fun. The airport in Boston is huge. It's massive, and there's no way out of it. And it's also so confusing. I'm not like, for being a theoretical physicist, I'm not like the smartest guy around, you know. It took me like 2 hours to get out of the airport. No. I was just walking around. I didn't know where to go. And eventually I just walked on the side of the road. I was there with my little poster tube and like a big backpack for this like nuclear physics conference, like walking on the side of the highway, trying to find where I could get to this train station so I could go to my hotel.
That was a reference, guys. He said train station. Oh my God, this is meta. This is meta.
I meant it.
This is the metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg, please.
Mark Zuckerberg, please, Mark, pick us up.
Please buy us. Let us join the lizard people.
Mark.
Were you alone? Did no professors or other students join you?
This project, I was the only one working on this project.
Loser.
One of my hell yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what you said, but I liked it.
Oh, I said loser when you said you were all alone by yourself.
I was alone. It happens in theoretical physics. But my friend Luke was working on it, and then he went to go do an REU during the summer. So then it was just me.
So he was a ghostwriter. So he was basically...
He was a ghostwriter.
You're Drake. He's the ghostwriter. And the Boston airport is Kendrick Lamar, and he's dissing you for 2 minutes.
Yeah. And it was great.
All right, continue. You're walking on the side of the road. You look completely lost.
And then I just found the airport. And I think I called my mom, and I was like, I don't know where to go. And she was like, well, I don't know where to go. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Dude, you should have called me. I would have been there.
Dude, you would have pulled up.
Dude, I would have drove 3 days to get there. Just to tell you that you're in the wrong spot and then turn around.
You'd have been like, it's actually over there. Go 10 feet to your right. And then you'd have drove back.
So the code is 734, and here's your train card to get transportation. Okay, goodbye. And then I drive.
Good. Bye.
Bye.
But it was cool. And then you get this hotel for free. GMP program that I was part of was called the CEU program, the Conference Experience for Undergraduates. So you get paired with a roommate. And so it was just me and my professor coming from SU. But I got paired with this guy from Florida who had been working in Michigan over the summer. And so when I got there, me and him kind of set up our room together. And then we kind of just walked around for the first day. But the CEU program was fun. Like they set us up with a graduate student mentor. They had breakfasts for us every morning. They had like different talks about what is grad school like, things like that. Yeah, like the hotel was really nice. Boston's really cool. It was cold.
Wait, you're thinking of doing grad school? I mean, obviously, but
I'm thinking of doing grad school. Yeah, maybe.
what
I
institution?
have no idea.
Can I make a guess?
Yeah.
Does it rhyme with US in reverse?
Actually, no, because Seattle U doesn't have a grad program.
Oh, so that means your mom has to now go teach at a
I know.
graduate level. So
Yeah.
I'll just go where you go, like a grad school in California.
What about
if,
Edmonds?
if I was, oh, you're thinking Edmonds. Dude, I was about to point out, you go to grad school in California, I apply for a law school in California. We live together, we have a good first few months, and then we start to hate each other, and we don't talk to each other, and then our friendship is ruined, and we never see each other again.
Okay.
I was trying to, playing that out, but you just want to go to Edmonds. I mean, like,
Do you have a date scheduled for when we're gonna hate each other?
well,
Is it like 3.5 months?
realistically, it's about 3 days into. But considering how strong our relationship is, like a chain link fence,
It's unbroken.
like Hell in a Cell, I would give us 4.5 days.
Our relationship is like a hollowed out marshmallow. Like there's nothing there in the middle.
Our relationship is like a donut's hole. It's like the hole in the donut.
Yeah. Our relationship is the inside of an acoustic guitar. Our relationship is like my heart.
She left me.
Chat, please.
Chat,
Chat,
guys.
she left me.
No, realistically, I would probably do law school and then I would surf all the time because like surfing areas are very territorial. There would be lots of fights, and then I'd always come home with like a broken eye socket and stuff. But then we're like, you should see the other guy, and then you'd be like, oh, Maclain, you need to stop getting into
So
this
hot.
fight.
Oh, Maclain. Ooh.
All right, you're in Boston. What was Boston like?
Boston was great. Boston is big. Boston is wicked smart.
Stole my line. I was about to do that to you.
That's right. I researched Boston. I didn't actually research Boston. It's cool. I liked it. We got a cannoli. I did go to the Goodwill Hunting bench.
Yeah, he's like you. He's challenged
Yeah.
socially, not academically. He's very smart.
Yeah.
Did you
But,
take any
yeah.
moments to enjoy the trip, or was it all professional?
I hated the trip. No, it was great. I took a lot of moments to enjoy the trip. At that point, not a lot of the nuclear physics conference is really specific. So all of the breakout rooms are like people have been working their entire careers on like specific projects. And so it's kind of hard to just go in and understand one. I went to some talks, but I spent a lot of time like walking around Boston. Me and my roommate Jay, we would kind of walk around a lot. A lot of the other people from the CEU program, we would walk around a lot. We played darts with these two old Boston dudes in a bar. That was great.
What type
Like-
of bar? Was it an Irish pub, or was it just a normal?
Yeah, it was an Irish pub.
Nice.
I think it was literally called the Irish pub. These two old dudes, like every 5 throws, they would walk outside to take a smoke break. They're like, "We'll be right back. Watch the table. Like, don't mess with my darts." And then we would take their darts and mess around, and it was great. Yeah, so we took a lot of time to just kind of like walk around Boston.
And is this the city you went to the aquarium?
Yeah, it was good. You know what? There were a lot of crabs. Boston, which is not surprising to me. Boston is known for their crabs. It was a little bit sad too because you would walk into the Boston Aquarium, and on one side over there, there's like a touch tank and like all of these cool things, and there are crabs. And then on the other side over there, there's a cafeteria, but it's the exact same thing. There's still just a touch tank full of crabs, and so the crabs over here are looking at the crabs over there. They're going, "My family, no!" And then the crabs over here are getting taken out and deep fried. They're like, "Hey, you want a deep fry? You want a po' boy? What do you want? You want a crab? You want the claw? You want anything?" And then it was great. Yeah. So for all of the listeners out there, your host of the trade station has left. I think he's going to talk to somebody, which is a little bit scary to me. I'm not good at talking. I'm okay talking. But now it's my show. So let's talk about VeggieTales. because I really want to talk about my details.
The crabs are looking at each other within the same building, and then across the street there was also a fish market in which other crabs are being sold. So basically, it was a crab genocide.
Basically, it was a crab genocide. It was like a terrible day to be a crab, bad day to be a crab. It's inhumane. It makes you think, you know. And then McDonald's sells lobster po' boys
Really? In Boston?
in New England.
I don't know if I would have lobster at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Now, just so the listeners at home understand, what is theoretical physics? Let me just get a quick explanation here.
It's mostly math. It's mostly reading papers and doing math. There are a lot of like open problems in physics. For example, in nuclear physics, no one knows why the proton has the magnetic field that it does. There are a lot of ideas about what could make the magnetic field inside a proton, for example. And those ideas need to be tested experimentally. But before you can do that, you need to know what results you're going to get. And so theoretical physics is predicting what results you're going to get based on different ideas. So you come up with ideas for how you think things work or better ways to measure things. And then you do some math to figure out what results you're going to get. And theoretical physics is either coming up with the ideas or doing the math. It's almost always doing the math, but sometimes you come up with the ideas, sometimes you don't. You just have ideas that other people have come up with and you improve them, and then you do some more math to see what results you get. But it's almost always having an idea, doing math to see what results you can get so that people can test them.
So the only question remaining is, what is your research about, and if you'll be willing to share it with us today?
Yeah, this is really cool, kind of. So this is my most recent project, and I got to present a poster on it, which is kind of cool. But it means I remember it the most, so that's fun. So the whole idea of what I presented at the nuclear physics conference is I was one of the few theoretical nuclear physicists with the undergraduate program that went. And the problem that I focused on really is, where does the spin of the proton come from? So protons, they make up the nucleus of an atom, right? And they're the positively charged particles. Every single proton has what we call a spin. It's not spinning at all. Spin is just, for some reason, it has a magnetic field. And that magnetic field we call spin. So we call it spin because you can make a magnetic field by spinning something. But as far as we know, it's not spinning. The cool thing is protons all have the exact same spin, all of them, no matter what. And recently we've discovered that there are things that make up a proton. So a long time ago, they thought that protons were like a fundamental particle, like that was as far as you could go, and then you couldn't break down a proton any further. But in like the 60s, they were doing some scattering experiments, and they found things inside of the proton. So there are three particles that make up a proton called quarks, and a proton is two up quarks and a down quark. The two up quarks have a positive charge, the one down quark has a negative charge, and then they add up to give the proton its charge. And presumably people thought they did the same thing for spin, which is the magnetic field of the proton. So the two up quarks, they don't necessarily have to be spin up. You could have just two of the quarks would have spin up, so a magnetic field pointed up. One of the other quarks would have a magnetic field pointed down. It would cancel with one of the ups, and you'd be left with one spin up, which is what we see in the proton anyway. So that idea worked out really well, to have these quarks that make the spin for the proton. The problem is, a little bit further down the line, people started running more scattering experiments with higher and higher energies. And energy is like resolution on a camera. If you have higher energy, you can see more things. When they started running scattering experiments with higher energies, they started seeing more things inside the proton other than just these three quarks. So these three quarks would sometimes radiate something called a gluon. And gluons are what hold these quarks together. So they're actually there all the time. But these gluons, as they're buzzing around between the different quarks. So our picture right now is three quarks and a bunch of gluons. The gluons are buzzing around between the quarks to keep them together. Sometimes the gluons, though, on their path, they decay and make a quark-antiquark pair. And that's just something that quantum mechanics lets them do. So sometimes inside the proton, there's more quarks than just these three, what we call valence quarks, like base quarks. So it turns out that inside a proton at any given point, there's on average 5.4 partons, which is just 5.4 particles inside the proton at any given point. But really what it looks like is a cloud of stuff, like being made and then being annihilated again and being made and then being annihilated. And it's just like a buzz of stuff inside a proton, or really a buzz of stuff that makes a proton. So like this cloud of stuff, if we move away from it, it looks like what we would call a proton. That is what we call the quark C. That buzz of stuff is called the quark C. And my project was to come up with, okay, how does the quark C contribute to the spin of the proton, the magnetic field of the proton? Because people ran more experiments and they said that the valence quarks, the base quarks, only make up about a quarter of the magnetic field of the proton, of the spin of the proton. So the rest of the spin has to be coming from somewhere. And my project was seeing, okay, given the statistics that we can do, can we account for some of that spin, the 75% that's remaining? Can we account for some of it in the quark C? Hopefully, can we account for all of it? But can we account for some of it just using the intrinsic spin of the quark C, which is just like these particles are being made, they have some magnetic field. Does that contribute? And so we did a bunch of statistics with something called a meson cloud model. And that was our main way of looking at the proton. So what a meson cloud model is it looks at the proton in terms of statistics. It says, okay, a proton is a proton by itself, just 3 quarks. And that's what we call a proton. But it could also be a proton by itself, those 3 quarks, and then some more stuff in the quark C. Well, at any given moment, that stuff inside the quark C, if we remove the 3 quarks that we say make up a proton, we could say that extra stuff inside the quark C looks like a different kind of particle, like a pion or a rho meson or something. What the meson cloud model is, and a meson is just a lighter kind of particle, a way of statistically looking at the proton in terms of how likely is it to be in any one of these states, like a proton plus a pion or a proton plus a rho meson, based on the 3 valence quarks plus the extra quarks that you get inside the quark C. And you assign probabilities to each of these different states. And it gets really, really complicated, actually. But you assign probabilities to each of these states, and then you can kind of average over them and do a bunch of statistics and see what you're going to get if you know stuff about the states. Just kind of an overview, the 2 basic parts of a meson cloud model is a fluctuation function. Starting just as a proton, how likely is it to suddenly fluctuate into a proton plus some other particle? After it's fluctuated, you have what we call a parton distribution function, which is the way that people run these experiments. And again, this comes back to theoretical physics being like set up for experiments. Is the way people run these experiments is particle accelerators. They fling these protons around particle accelerators really, really fast, and then they slam them into things. Or they fling electrons in particle accelerators really, really fast, and they slam them into protons. But either way, things are going really, really fast. And when they're going that fast, they kind of flatten like pancakes because of relativity. The math that we use is conservation of momentum. So if this proton has like, say, 5 units of momentum going into a collision, and suddenly it fluctuates during the collision, well, that 5 units of momentum has to be shared evenly between the 2 particles it fluctuated into. So if it fluctuates and in the beginning it had 5 units of momentum, it might fluctuate. The meson might have 3 units of momentum, and the baryon, which is the bigger particle, the proton, might have 2 units of momentum or something like that. Or it might have 4 and 1, but it needs to keep the same amount. And so the second part of the meson cloud model is, okay, how likely is it to fluctuate into these 2 different particles? Once it's fluctuated, look at the extra particle, the meson, and we know what it's made up of. We know the kinds of quarks inside of it. And so a parton distribution function will tell us for a given momentum. So once it's fluctuated, it has a certain momentum. For a given momentum, how likely is it to have any given type of quark inside of it? Once we know all these statistics about the quarks, we can do some averages. So we put them back together again, we do what's called kind of a convolution integral. It's a convolution integral and it's a sum. It's a lot of intense math, but once you do it, you get these graphs that tell you, okay, for a certain momentum, this is the difference in quark content inside the quark C, and that difference in quark content for spin up versus spin down will tell you how much magnetic field is being contributed at a given momentum. So if you add up all the magnetic field for all possible momentums by doing an integral, you get just like a certain number. You get a number that says, okay, this much magnetic field is being contributed by the quark C. And that is the project, basically, is us figuring out that number and producing graphs. And the reason that we're doing this project now is because there's an experiment being run in Chicago at Fermilab called SpinQuest, or it's going to be run soon, that is going to measure the exact same thing. Its goal is to measure what is the contribution to spin from the quark C. They are going to produce the same graphs. So we want to put out predictions based on our meson cloud model or what we think the contribution should be in graph form. And then if the experiment turns out to have the same thing, like if it turns out to produce the same numbers, the same graphs, the same data, then we know that our meson cloud model is onto something. If it turns out to produce something else, then we know that our meson cloud model should be looked at, or maybe we should use somebody else's model. But so far, we don't really know. We've compared our data to current other theories, like lattice calculations and global fits. Lattice calculations are basically a way of, it's like a simulation. It's like taking a 3D grid of space and getting really, really precise, and then just using, to the best of our knowledge, quantum mechanics rules to run a simulation and see what happens. That calculation produces a different graph than what we've done with, like, ours has a hump in the middle, theirs has like a valley in the middle, which still means a contribution. It just means a contribution from different kinds of particles. So we're producing a different sign, and then global fits are kind of agreeing with lattice calculations. So it doesn't look like our meson cloud model is going to have a lot of success, but we still want to figure out when the experiment comes out if it's going to be right or not, because the meson cloud model had a lot of success for other issues related to the quark C. So we just kind of want to see if it has some success with spin in the quark C.
Wow, that is very fascinating. What's next after this? Because of course this is your second fully completed presentation and project. Do you have a next goal? Are you already into something else?
One of the faculty members here wants to do stuff with general relativity, looking into like applications of general relativity. He wants to do n-body simulations, really, which is like taking a bunch of particles and encoding into them physical laws and then just pressing play and seeing what happens. And it's really, you need a really good computer to do it. So we're thinking of renting Amazon web server space to run these things. But I might do that. That sounds kind of fun.
Nice. Was there any big key takeaways with this project versus your last project, or is it more the same, getting your foot in the door, understanding what's expected of you next?
Yeah, getting your foot in the door, trying out different fields of physics. It's interesting how specific you can get. Like, people could spend their entire careers just doing one thing. Like my professor that I did this project with, the meson cloud model is like her thing. Like that's what she's contributed to the physics community. Like research into it is kind of her thing. So getting used to the idea of, okay, this is what you could spend an entire career doing, and you need to kind of explore this area of physics and see if you like it. So it was really me exploring nuclear physics, which is fun. It's one of the more math intensive fields of physics. Well, it's one of the more theory intensive fields of physics. Math intensive would be astrophysics, but and computation intensive, actually. It's coding, is astrophysics, but it's kind of like exploring different fields of physics. So this was a really, really cool way to like get into nuclear physics a bit, see the people, get your name in the door. Like going to Boston was really good.
Well, AJ, I just wanted to say thank you. This is part 2 of the physics phenomenon. That's what we're going to call it.
The phenomenon.
The phenomenon. Alejandro, you're a very smart young man. I'm glad to have known you since 3rd grade and play on the same basketball team together. Well, second grade, that just shows you how bad of a friend I am. But
No.
to all you folks, just wanted to say thank you for tuning in. Any last comments, Alejandro?
Cowabunga.
Well, AJ, I feel like I learned something today, hopefully.
And so what we have learned applies to our lives today. God has a lot to say in his book.
Took her to the big sky.
Big Sky, Small World is sponsored by the Carroll College Communication Center, helping the Carroll and Helena communities with presentations, multimedia, and podcasting since 2020. Find us in the library or email Director Alan Hansen at ahansen@carroll.edu.
Took her to the big sky.
Today, we got quite a story to tell you all listeners of Big Sky, Small World. But first, let me admire this man as if he was a newly discovered sculpture from ancient Greece. A sculpture that surpasses the magnificence of David, created by Michelangelo. No, not the turtle. And has the wisdom of Oppenheimer. Hashtag foreshadowing.
I'll be quiet.
Unlike John Cena, where humanity is like, you can't see him, this man has the ability to see what is hidden. More specifically, he has the intuition to behold the strings of dimensions, how they propagate through space and time, interacting with each other. Before we get too sidetracked, let me bring this conversation back down to the physical plane and begin to unravel the curtains of this mysterious man. The beauty of his body is uncontested. The ability for his mind to absorb knowledge is equivalent to a quasar, the scientific name for a supermassive black hole. Renowned to be the scholastic Thanos, he collects degrees as if they were infinity stones to be added to the infinity gauntlet. So the question isn't, can this man see with his eyes that no other human can see, but can he hear it? Can you hear the music? Alejandro Enguidanos.
Hello?
Well, are you going to answer the question, bro? Can you hear the music?
Oh, yeah. I like that song.
Did you
I
see
can
what I
hear
was
the
trying to do
music.
there? Did you get the reference?
Oh, I got the reference. I'm currently listening to that song.
Oppenheimer, baby.
Oppenheimer.
How are you doing today, my distinguished colleague? Was my
I'm
introduction
doing amazing.
adequate enough?
Oh, it was amazing. I like the part about my noble body.
Did I miss anything? Should I add more in the...
No, I mean, if you want to keep going, you can keep going.
Well, I thought, hashtag foreshadowing, John Cena, Oppenheimer,
That was good. I think you should edit in John Cena's voice.
Michelangelo,
I
the
can,
turtle from Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yeah, that
Turtles.
one was good.
Yeah, I added
You have earned yourself another listener.
just one.
That's me. No, I'm gonna make the entire physics club here listen to you.
Oh, I thought you were going to make your entire family across the states of America and Spain listen to this.
That too.
I'll
And all
just-
of my 12 burner accounts.
Yeah, I'll get you to be the interpreter, and you can just speak over in Spanish in different voices to be you and me, and then you can play it to your grandfather.
That'd be awesome. I don't even want to interpret. I just want to have them sit there and listen to something they don't get and they go, "Wah!"
The train station, for reference, I am joined here by my esteemed guest, Alejandro Enguidanos. Say something.
The train station.
Dude, that's so funny because my uncle, he's from Ireland, so if he ever listens to this.
Oh, he'll listen.
So this is going to be upcoming NFL draft and choices for fantasy picks.
This will be easy.
I'm going to do a little speech here. Speech Mac.
Speech Mac. He's Speech Maxing.
So we got the upcoming NFL draft, and there's some really interesting changes to the coaching staff and positions throughout the whole NFL roster. Our beloved Seahawks, both me and Alejandro's, they started off really strong this past season, but then they dropped drastically in terms of performance and their tenacity to win, only as in typical Seahawk fashion provide a smidge of hope to the fan base. This smidge of hope? Well, it's like a wind bellow being used to relight the hardened coals at the base of the fire pit. The Seahawks rely on the crutches of the strength of victory to somehow get them into the postseason. And spoiler alert, folks, it did not work once again. But that's all right. For us Seahawks fans in particular, live in the days of the past where Skittles, rained down from the skies, and our defense was feared on every instance of the field, whether it was pass, run, blitz, interception, sacks. Just to name a few, we dominated. We were number one. That's why they called us the Legion of Boom. And of course, you cannot forget Marshawn Lynch running down into the end zone, jumping backwards, grabbing his nuts, while the Seahawks fans pelt him with beloved Skittles, which may or may not have form of radiation in them. So that's another topic another day, but who knows? I bring this up because our beloved Super Bowl winning head coach, Pete Carroll, has now signed on to be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, along with their newly hired offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly, who, newsflash, just won the national championship with Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, Alejandro here, he's an Irishman. He was a little disappointed that Notre Dame lost, but this is important to note. You couple all this information about the Raiders with the fact that they do have a first-round draft pick, number 6, but they have a first-round draft pick. We could potentially see them pick up Sanders or Travis Hunter, who was a Heisman winner that played on both offense and defense. That is if, of course, Cam Ward goes number 1 draft pick, and these guys fall down to number 6 because, again, they're from Colorado. They're not one of those big schools, if you know what I mean. You do not, because I don't know what I mean.
I know what you mean. They might get high.
Well, we want them to get low. We want them low for the Raiders. But the Seahawks, they do have a first-round draft pick, and if Geno, that's how I refer to him, is going to be our guy, and let me tell you this, folks, I've had numerous amount of debates that Geno is, in fact, not our guy. Then we got to get some big old linemen on that front. We got to protect him because it doesn't help when a sack happens every other play. I mean, realistically, he has a $75 million contract. $75 million. And he was a starting quarterback behind Russell Wilson that had an enormous $400+ million contract. Now, if we want to get the job done, and he has to get us to the postseason to do that, he's got to be worth that $75 million. But
that's right.
Hey, maybe I just have too high of expectations of the youngest new head coach ever of the Seahawks. He did have a winning season, so we'll see next year. Needless to say, I bring this all up because me and AJ are now Raiders fans. Isn't that right?
That's right. I have a Raider tattooed on both of my man pecs.
Oh, yeah. Raiders.
Raider.
Can you guess that WWE reference? It's Randy.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
It's Randy Macho Man Savage. That was his name. His name
Stone Cold Steve Austin?
No, his name was Randy Macho Man Savage.
It wasn't Stone Cold?
No. And he was the Slim Jim guy. So if you ever go on YouTube, search Randy Macho Man Savage Slim Jim commercials. It is about exactly what you expect. Yeah. And he talked like this, and he's like, "Oh yeah." Of course, the mics aren't picking that up so well, but no.
I'm pretty sure that's what he sounded like.
Yeah, it sounded like a 21-year-old.
Oh yeah.
No, it was more manly, like, "Oh yeah."
Oh yeah.
All right, AJ, do you watch a lot of football?
I watch an insane amount of football. I think this year I saw a collective. I'm counting how many minutes. I won't have to take off my shoes though. I think I saw a collective of a quarter.
Nice. I mean,
and a half.
What sports do you watch then instead of football?
I watch basketball sometimes.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's your team?
I don't have a team. my team doesn't exist anymore. My team is whoever's winning.
Oh, your team was the Sonics, the Seattle Supersonics, and then they got taken away from us.
And then they got taken away by Starbucks. I don't even remember the guy's name. Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he went down to Oakland. That was the new team.
And then the Starbucks guy sold him. But no, my team this year is the Celtics because I think they're cool.
All right. This was not in the original interview portion, but I have to ask: LeBron or Jordan?
Brooke Lopez.
Good answer. Good answer. And why is that?
Look at him.
Okay.
He's a beast. He's 7 feet tall. He shoots threes. He's got curly hair. He looks kind of like a pug. Like his eyes are like a little crossed, and he just runs down the court. He's great.
I hope he doesn't listen to this because in the previous segments, you gave away your address. So now he knows how to find you. I am Brooke's
number one fan. If Brooke comes to my house, it'll be to give me a smooch.
See, now I know you're joshing me because I've been in your room. I've been in
Great.
your room and I've seen Jordan posters on
Oh,
your
no.
wall. So
Yeah, Jordan's pretty good, but Brooke Lopez is tall. Michael Jordan hasn't played against anybody bigger than 6'8". No, but Michael Jordan's pretty good. He's
Just-
pretty good.
he's pretty good.
He's all
Not
right.
the greatest, but he's
Not
all
the
right.
greatest of all time, but he's all right.
I mean, if you got
I think he
ranked,
was probably better than LeBron.
oh, see, you just said that you earned a lot of respect from my dad.
Lester, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is not my dad's name, but for all
Yeah, it's
intents and
Lestifer.
purposes.
There's an F.
Speaking of football, the most American sport ever, because why else?
Yeah, we love football.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I mean, you have the chance. You could play soccer, you could play baseball, you could play golf. What's more American than putting pads on another man and have them run at each other
Yeah.
and tackle each other? I mean, there's
It's
a
just
reason we
more
were called the
American. It's
Legion
like-
of Boom, because we were the
we
doom
were
of the
boom.
offense.
Oh,
We
yeah,
had
yeah,
guys
yeah.
who gave other guys concussions and hit them so hard you would think it would be manslaughter.
Yeah, they gave them manly hugs. It's just a hug. It's just it's 11 dudes on a field hugging it out.
Well, with the Seahawks, it's 12
22.
dudes.
12 dudes.
Yeah, because we're the 12th man.
Yeah, and we're all giving ourselves our own hug.
So, Alejandro, I have it under good authority that you actively participate in a fantasy draft, even though you do not watch football at all. Is that correct?
I object. I watch football all the time. I watch up to what amounts to a game a year, but that's correct.
Is this a family fantasy draft, or is this like?
It's a family draft.
All right.
It's me and my uncle and my dad and my other uncles and my aunt, who's actually better than all of us.
And your sister, Maya. Is that correct?
And my sister. Yeah.
And your mom.
Yeah.
Basically,
It's
your whole
basically the
family.
whole family. Yeah.
Are there any rules? And do you guys have?
No,
like-
the rules are win. I mean, ESPN has rules. We have to follow ESPN's rules. But I'm the head of the league.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm the GM.
so you're in
So I
charge
don't
of the
know.
ultimate prize, right? The giveaway.
Yeah.
And what do you do for that?
I kind of let them figure it out. I don't like to. I let them do. I'm like, okay, guys, there's gonna be a prize, and then they all fight for a little bit, and then they figure out what they want.
So the prize is to guess the prize,
Yeah,
and
pretty
then the
much.
surprise is to learn that what they guessed is not really the prize.
Yeah, I give them like a good thumbs up, and
Yeah.
even when they do get a prize, it's like I'm not the one paying for it. You know, like my dad's gonna pay for it. So I'd be like, we're going to Indiana this year.
So your dad is investing in the prize that he wants to win.
Mhm.
That's nice. Do you have a particular strategy? I know a lot of people spend a lot of time researching and going over evidence and data. I mean, what is your go-to here?
Yeah, I have an intense strategy. So I always rig the league so that I get the number one pick. I'm putting that out there so that people know, because this is really important. And with my number one pick this year, I picked CD Lamb because his name sounds like a CD. And I think that's really cool. Basically, your team needs to be cool. If your team is cool, the other team gets scared. And so what you do is, while the draft is going on, you have to text everybody else in the league really incriminating messages so that they get distracted. And then the AI picks for them. And then their teams are always really bad. So this year, I was wearing toe socks and I sent people pictures of my toes. And then I like kept taking it off a little bit. They were all intrigued. They were like, what's he going to do? Is he going to take off his toe sock? Are we going to see some toe? And I was like, I don't know. And then they couldn't pick because they were all mesmerized. And while that was happening, I got Equanimous St. Brown, the number one player in the NFL.
Unironically, both of those picks are very strong considering you know nothing about them. I mean, CD Lamb signed $250 million contract.
Oh, yeah.
And the other guy is like really good. Could it possibly be that they weren't necessarily intrigued about the toe socks, but more so filling out a restraining order and using that evidence?
No, because it was just a video. We don't know whose toe that is. It could be anybody's toe. Like, it could be.
Wait, I was there when you were taking these photos. And if it was a video, they could hear my voice and I
Oh,
could
it
be
was
pulled
video.
into court. and asked to give a statement of acknowledgement on who the toes belong to. You're gonna have to bribe me.
I'm not gonna bribe you. You know what my toes look like.
All right, so who else? What's your favorite kicker? What's your go-to kicker?
This is actually really important, and I fight people about this every year. Young Ho Koo. I don't know what his name is, but that's his name.
He's from
Young
the
Ho Koo.
Falcons, right?
He's from the Falcons.
That's
And-
again another unironically good pick. That's a strong
Yeah,
pick.
oh, I know. Have you seen the guy? He's amazing. And I think this year I traded Christian McCaffrey to get Young Ho Koo. Someone else picked him.
Jeez. Oh God.
Like, I need Young Ho Koo on my team. He's my good luck charm.
Again, somehow your picks are phenomenal because Christian McCaffrey got hurt again this season, so he was useless.
Yeah.
And your sister drafted him under my recommendation.
Mhm.
So really, there's collaboration going on here.
Yeah,
Okay.
she knew I was giving her stuff so that she could get, because she has a kicker too. Her kicker is Graham Gano. And each of us need these players on our team.
It's superstitious, you would say.
It's superstitious. And there's also a player, and I forget what his name is, but I think it's something like Okonkwo. I draft him every year. I'm one of the only people that drafts him. On ESPN, you can see how many people have been drafted. It like tells you, it gives you percentage. Like, this player is rostered 20% of leagues or something like that. And
Yeah, he's a
for-
tight end and fullback for the Tennessee Titans, who had a really good season this year.
Yeah, I think he was only rostered in like 7% of leagues or something. That was me.
So you're like boosting his stats. You're boosting the underdog here, and it's working
Mhm.
out. You know the secret that no one else knows.
And I DM'd him. I say, guys, I got you.
You're like, guys, I put a lot of money on you guys this season. I really need you to step it up. I got like
To
3,000.
pay out, yeah.
It's
You're
like
going up against Jalen.
it's like texting this guy and being like, all right, I need you to perform these stats at this time. If you don't, I'm going bankrupt and I'm losing my house and my family.
I'm like in the mafia, but I have no backing power. I try to rig the games, but I can't do anything if they don't.
Oh God.
Yeah, I text them if a running back or something. I say, just knock out your quarterback. Like, if Jalen Hurts is your quarterback, I don't care. Give him a broken leg or something. You're running this week.
Purposely sabotage your own teammates' careers so that you could get more focus on your game. I am learning so many new things here. This is fantastic.
It's great. I love fantasy football because everyone takes it. It's really intense. Like, this is an intense league. I don't even try.
Dude, this is just so funny. People are gonna listen to our physics segment, the physics phenomenon, and they'll be like, "Wow, this
This
man
is on
is
a
so
book."
articulate. He knows what he's talking about." I'm mind boggled by his sophistication in this field of study. They're gonna hop right next over to the NFL fantasy draft segment, and you'll be like, "I don't got a strategy. I choose based on the name of someone. I don't really care."
Yeah, it's good. I don't look at the stats. What
Yeah,
are numbers?
I text the teammates and like tell them to sabotage their team and like help me win my money, and it's like I'm addicted.
I'm an addict. I don't think numbers are real. The only life advice my father gave me when I was born was put it all in red.
Well, my father told me to put it all in green. I've yet to pay
Oh,
out, but there's a
Sounds
chance.
smart. I should try that one.
Well, I mean, how many times have you won with this strategy?
I've actually won the league. The league has been going for 4 years, and I've won once.
Wow.
Yeah.
At the
So
start?
the second year,
Second year.
I beat everyone. I beat my cousin. I made myself a sweatshirt for winning. I was like league champion. And I have 2 teams in the league.
So you're stat boosting.
Yeah. I have one team called the PCC Curbside Kids and another team called the Hood Thug Grandpas.
Oh,
And everyone
God.
else only gets one team, but I get 2 teams because I'm the league manager.
Oh God. I mean, who won the first year? Tell me each year's winners.
Okay, so the first year was my cousin Tab with the Dingleberry.
We don't like him. He's
Yeah.
not like us.
He's not like us, really. And then the second year was me with the Hood Thug Grandpas. The third year was my dad, actually.
Let's go.
I forget what his team name was. He changes it every year.
Let's go, coach.
Let's go.
And then this year,
And then this year was, who was it this year? I think this year was my cousin, the Arizona Big Ballers.
that's a good name.
Yeah, and that's my cousin Evan, and I'm pretty sure that's who won this year.
So I think what you need to do is you need to take that sweatshirt you made, and I think you need to add a little adjustments to it. I think you need to include the year you won, and then I need you to include a picture of your face just plastered in the front, right above the, fantasy winner this year, and on the back, I think it needs to be just the toe socks photo.
That would be so much fun.
And then, hear me out here. Then you make 50 of them and you send it to every member of your family to assert
Even
dominance.
the ones in Spain that I've never met.
And then on the sleeves, you write GM Advantage.
Oh, this would be great. I'll send it to everyone.
Well,
I'll send you a copy.
Thank you. I mean, I did participate this year. I tanked your sister's team for you.
Yeah.
And I also tried to tank your dad's team, but he was a little bit too serious, so I didn't get
He takes it real. He does mock drafts. We could do a mock draft right now.
Well, seems like, wouldn't you look at the time?
Oh, it's not. Okay. All I'm saying is,
Well, that was certainly something new. And to the listeners at home, I hope you are taking notes at this strategy because of its unorthodox nature. It could be a new fun way to play the game and maybe even gain respect of your family or your parents or the family members of your loved ones, either your girlfriends, boyfriends, husband, or wife who do not respect you, who think you are a chump and you are wasting the potential of their to all you people out there trying to gain approval of your father-in-laws or your mother-in-laws or soon-to-be mother-in-law and soon-to-be father-in-law, take this strategy in fantasy. They will respect it because they will regard you as someone who creates their own path in life, not a follower, but a cultivator of ideas and dreams.
I'm touched. Thank you.
You like that?
Yeah.
All right, that was
I'm going to hire you to write speeches for our league.
Dude, that's so nice. You know I'm a really good speech maker. Remember? I'm literally Jon Snow.
You're literally Jon Snow. You walked away with the microphone.
And I still talked.
Yeah. This was what? This was freshman year? You were going for class president?
No, sophomore year. I lost
Sophomore year?
freshman year. Yeah, I was too nervous freshman year.
Sophomore year.
No, I think it was junior year. Yeah, I gave it a break.
No, because I was there.
You were there? Yeah, I was a junior senator, but I ran end of sophomore year.
Okay.
Dude, the fact that I won as a sophomore and I had no friends and I'm coming from a class of 16 to a class of 300 and a school of 1,000, 1,500, pretty impressive. Don't mean to toot my own horn, but toot, toot, choo, choo.
Toot, toot, choo, choo.
And I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time. And to all your listeners out there, this is the
choo-choo train. I forgot what the name was.
Train
The train
Station.
Big sky, small world, walking on high mountain alone. Took her to the big sky.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Sky, Small World. The music is by Alex Coulter. Please follow and leave comments on Instagram at bigsky.smallworld. Tune in next week.
Took her to the big sky.
Unlike John Cena.
This is awesome.
Dude, I can't read this seriously.
This is so good.